What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what shorts are doing, and go over everything else that you need to know, including the next big catalyst. Before I get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 5.66%, piggybacking off of the bloodbath that's happening in the market today. But beside the point though, the technicals are looking somewhat optimistic for SoundHound. So as of today, there's been no official news, no SEC filings, nothing along those lines. So it has been rather quiet. But at the same time, shorts aren't really doing all that much. They're increasing 297,000 shares, but in comparison with 60.64 million shares being shorted, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. So I see that as optimistic. And of course, that alludes to the next big catalyst that I'll talk on in a second. But 20.85% of the free float is being shorted. Utilization is 100%. Short score is 77.49, and then cost to borrow average is 33.77%. So when it comes down to shorts not really doing all that much, it kind of piggybacks and it's kind of linked to the broader market, how they're holding its breath for Nvidia earnings. And very often SoundHound does piggyback off of Nvidia. So whatever happens to Nvidia, let's say their earnings is phenomenal, it boosts it and goes to around 1100, SoundHound will push higher massively. And especially right now, it's on the verge of a breakout anyways, despite today's pullback because of the technicals. So in reality, this is the next big catalyst, and no different than what I said about their earnings. Their earnings was a very big catalyst and obviously caused it to go up, kind of divert from the negative technicals at that point. So in reality, I know it kind of sounds cliche, but this is a very, very big catalyst for SoundHound. My own opinion, of course, not a financial advisor. As of late, though, it's been a while since I've done a SoundHound video, but as of late, these are some of the latest analyst ratings. So last one was done 8 days ago, $7 price target, Scott, and he is with H.C. Wainwright. I don't really like that rating only because it's not really a real rating agency. Well, technically it is, but it's one of those ones, as far as I'm aware, that is paid. So I don't know if the company itself did that on their own accord or if Scott Bucko or Buck, whatever his name is doing that out of their own free will. I'm not really sure, but they did give a $7 price target. And as of late though, latest round of 13 Fs that have been coming down the pipeline, you do see BlackRock increasing their position slightly and many others. And there's one thing that really stood out to me that I wanted to bring up in this video is options. So obviously in my videos, I like to talk on technicals and data points, so including what shorts are doing and options. So right now, $450,000 in calls being purchased versus 105 in puts. Sentiment wise, very evenly divided. So of course, leading into the next big catalyst, I see that as somewhat optimistic, especially considering the market is in kind of bloodbath mode a little bit. But I wanted to bring this to your attention. So within Q1 2024, there was 2.1 million call options being held or purchased by hedge funds, which is an increase of 2,700% from the quarter prior. So that is massive. So obviously SoundHound is now on a lot of people's radar, even though they haven't done all that much news. So they've done kind of sporadic news and then their recent earnings. But aside from that, it's been relatively quiet. All 13F filers though, 12.06 million. So that is an increase of 355% from the quarter prior. So I see this information as extremely optimistic and that a lot of people do see a lot of upside with SoundHound. So something to kind of consider. Of the call options that are being purchased, there's a consensus for it to be above roughly $5.50 to $6. So that's linked to the technicals, and I'll talk on that in a second. But looking at puts, there's a consensus for it to be sub $5. So in my opinion, risk versus reward is very much in favor of upside. So these are some of the transactions that have occurred so far on the secondary market above $100,000. So somewhat low, but then again, it's been kind of like that for the last little bit. So definitely it's a big momentum play. This is why I really like SoundHound, because it's kind of a very good hybrid. So it's an AI play, momentum play, and right now it's kind of, there's a rotation happening in the broader market, right? So a lot of capital is leaving equities going to cryptocurrency right now. So I think that's really affecting SoundHound today, but it's a good hybrid stock. So it's a squeeze play as well. So if there is a very, very good earnings coming from Nvidia, then SoundHound as a byproduct will go up and possibly even prompt a short squeeze, maybe. That might be a little bit more premature to talk on, but let me know your thoughts on that. These are some of the transactions that have occurred on the dark pool so far. So dark pool is often enough linked to larger institutions as well as shorting, so very active as usual. But one thing I just wanted to bring up when it comes down to the technicals, so with it at $5.17, it is currently trading between this pivot and this R1. So $5.49 is going to be that next strong resistance / target. It bounced off of that yesterday. So today is more of a consolidation. So this is why I said, despite it being red today, technicals are still looking good and kind of pointing to a breakout. Once again, if that catalyst comes to fruition, then yeah, you could see it back into this range. So this R1 to this R2, or potentially even higher from this point right here. So 607. So the next big support point that you'll want to watch for is 456. So again, I don't anticipate that happening today nor tomorrow, but rather probably this R1 should be touched again soon rather than later. On the chart itself, so you do see it's flirting with that 50-day moving average and has been since it looks like May the 10th, so a good week and a half or whatever else. So it's kind of been stuck in limbo. And for those of you that do options, stuck in limbo is absolutely epic. So you can collect some pretty good premiums by selling puts or selling covered calls or just calls in general. So if you guys don't know options, highly suggest in kind of doing some research, doing your own due diligence and all the other fun jazz. But right now it is most likely going to be stuck and wedge bound between that 50-day moving average and central Bollinger Band until that catalyst comes to fruition, like I said, which is tomorrow after hours. But aside from that though, stochastic is somewhat in neutral territory, so it is at 59, so not really considered overbought nor oversold, so kind of just stuck in limbo for that, and no defined trend. You do see number of retail investors getting out today, so maybe just profit taking or just had enough of, I guess, the stagnantness of SoundHound, but still, I kind of am cautiously optimistic about SoundHound, so let me know your thoughts on it. If it does break below $5, I feel like this is a good time to buy, so that's where I myself will be buying if it does happen, or possibly I might FOMO into it tomorrow leading into Nvidia earnings. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with SoundHound? So let me know your thoughts on that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the 𝗪𝗧𝗛. So a pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.